I don't know if it's because you're sitting in the middle, guy, but the way you're blinging compared to the rest of us, yeah, guy. Did you notice?
That's what I do, man.
Thank you, guys. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I'm once again joined by these amazingly beautiful and faithful Zimbabwean men, and today we're gonna have a chance to ask them a couple of questions about relationships. So hopefully today some of your questions will be answered. If they're not, go in the comments. If they are, still go in the comments, and we're just gonna get it starting from the beginning. I don't know what people's relationship statuses are, but we're just gonna ignore that one. First question. How do you let a girl know that you just want to smash?
I just want to smash.
Yep. You don't want a relationship?
No. You say I just want to smash.
Oh, that's it? Does that work?
No.
What's the pass rate?
No, it doesn't work. It's a lie.
How's it been going for you ladies?
Like,
behave.
Is that all you see? Is that all you want from me?
There's a way you behave around it.
that's it?
There's a way you behave. There's a way that you speak to her, and she should.
What is that way?
You lie.
What are all these little microisms? No, because we want to know.
I think your behavior lets her know that that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I think that leads me to my next question. Are you honest from the get-go that that's all you want, or are you all dream sellers?
You reply messages selected.
There's a balance.
Say you don't reply.
Exactly.
Right.
There's a way of being honest but selling dreams at the same time.
Okay. Next question. What is a foolproof thing that a girl can do to make you fall in love with her?
Reciprocate the energy.
Mm-hmm. Show 100% commitment.
Show 100% commitment?
Exactly. Communicate, exactly.
But you guys could be if you have 50 girls communicating
right?
to you, doing 50
You're
relationships.
Guys, I feel like the word communicate is so deep because you get girls that you ask what's wrong and then she just be like, nothing.
So, but are you saying if she told you what was wrong, you'd fall in love?
That's not communicating with you. If you're willing to show me a vulnerable side of yourself,
but what?
then that puts you in better books.
The question is, what would definitely make you fall in love?
That's
good communication.
Good communication.
Would definitely make you fall in love.
One of the things, guys.
I also think you can have good communication with 10 girls.
You see what I mean? Like
anyone.
Girls are actually generally good communicators.
Because you know what? I'll put it in
certain levels,
perspective. The foolproof way for me to fall in love, consistency.
Fair enough.
Boom.
Foolproof.
Boom.
I mean, it's fair, but you can still fuck around and can I swear on your channel?
Yeah.
No, but you can still mess around and be consistent at the same time.
No.
Yes, you can.
No. A consistent fucker rapper.
Nah.
You can mess around and be consistent.
Nicolas.
I'm sorry.
People are snitching.
Nicolas. Me, I want to know, what do you mean?
Never mind.
I hear what Nicolas.
No. Here's the thing, though. I think what makes someone a good boyfriend or girlfriend is ensuring that your partner's happy. Mm-hmm. And what Nick is basically saying is you can mess around and still have your partner be happy, right?
Next question.
So, you know, like
this
do not speak for me, Dennis.
The truth will come out today.
Why are you snitching on me?
thinking of my shit like that.
Next question. Do you date to marry?
Not always.
Do I date is the first question that we need to address. It's like a trial run, Kai. Before the main item.
Guys, I think you're just saying politically
correct things. I feel like people are not being honest.
This is what I think. I don't think people date to marry. I think you date someone and along the line then you decide that you want to marry this person.
I know, but then that's what I'm saying. It depends on how old you are. Because imagine you're 35 years old. You can't just be saying, "Let me just date this person to see." You see, so it kind of has a bearing on how old you are at that specific.
I'm a big believer in like living in the moment. I think it's very important for you to date because it's convenient, and that it's what you want to do right now. It may not necessarily be what I want to do tomorrow, but it's what I want to do right now. So I'm gonna do different day. If it develops and it turns into something that we can do long term, perfect. If not.
So how far?
That was Dennis' opinion, by the way.
Right? Yeah.
That was Dennis.
My next question is: so how far into dating or filling things out, whatever you want to call it, how far into that do you introduce a girl to your parents?
4 years minimum.
4 years minimum.
4 years
minimum.
Wow.
Minimum. I suppose that's also another thing that's like, you know, like it depends on the individual.
yeah.
But
because
you can meet my parents just by being in my house on the first weekend after we start dating.
By chance.
That can happen.
No, but what we're talking about is like the not formal, but like actually being like, okay, gang, this is my girlfriend, whoever.
That's when you start having, that's when you start asking yourself questions about marriage and what in the future. That's when you're like, you know what, this is good to bring to the family.
I think we shouldn't even place importance on meeting the parents.
It's actually nothing because it's not like
really nothing.
Their opinion has no value if you want what you want.
It's a lot of something. I think I can see
your guy's perspective.
Did you say your parents' opinion don't matter?
If you
that's such a theoretical lie. Like
it is.
It's really
if you bought home, if you went to varsity for 4 years and you fell in love with a white girl and you brought her back home and your parents said we don't like white people, what are you gonna do?
But that's different.
That's the opinion on the girl. That's what I mean.
If that opinion is based on the fact that they're racist, that's a different thing. But for me to go home right now and be like, yo, this is my girlfriend, and they're like,
that means something.
We have reservations about something. I'm definitely listening to that. Yeah. And I'm definitely like paying attention to whatever they say.
Exactly, which is fair enough. But then at the same time, if you're going to be bringing a different girl every 2 years and say, this is my girlfriend, obviously they're going to be telling you like certain things. We are Tangara, but then if you don't bring a girl home for like 5 years and then you bring one and you say, I'm serious, do you honestly think what they tell you is going to be negative? Nothing.
But then, actually with what Dennis just said, it leads me to my next question. When you're thinking about being serious with a girl, does it matter if she's Zimbabwean or not?
Yes. We can answer that question on several levels. Do you know one thing that I realized with dating is one of the main backbones is language, like especially in communication. So you find certain things like if I'm dating a Zimbabwean, by virtue of also speaking Shona and Debele or something, I can communicate certain things better. I don't have to explain it.
Even the banter is better.
But can I ask you something? Have you ever dated outside of Zim?
Yeah, that's how I know. So it's a situation whereby you can still communicate but it takes greater effort for me to explain. There is a Chinotimba joke shared in the group chat. Now I have to explain. This guy is from Bulgaria. He does this and in this particular. But this person is very location.
It's very location.
You consider whether you'll be able to touch the jokes when you think about marriage.
I'm giving an example of the bigger problem. The bigger problem being now, communication-wise, we will never be 100% on the same page. That's what I'm trying to say.
You both speak English, bro.
I know. But then English is your second language, bro.
You can't tell me. You're living in Australia. Let's say, for example, your lifestyle has changed. You have a new lifestyle in Australia. You don't even speak Shona in Australia. Yeah. But now you're telling me, Guti, the woman you married must be a Shona item so that you guys can have that language thing. Are you mad?
The problem that you're saying with that Ningrikin is you're trying to create a new situation. This question was answering me right now, not the person in Australia who has a new lifestyle.
That is what we're saying.
Because you see, if
it's location based.
But Ayiwa, she's asking the people right now that are seated here. With the Mukuzay that I am, and I'm answering with being the person that I am right now.
I need to be able to touch nothing but jokes.
Exactly.
Don't say exactly like this.
You open your trying to be sarcastic.
I don't think I think it's more cultural.
Cultural than
more than language.
Guys, anyway, for me personally, that means absolutely nothing. If we both speak English, it's fine.
That's it. But it's not just about the language. Being Zimbabwean is more than the language, because when you bring her back to your parents, when you're thinking about marriage, does it matter that she's Zimbabwean?
You can still bring a Zimbabwean girl to your parents and she's not
a Zimbabwean girl.
What you say?
You know, I've got a question for Tesh. You've spent predominantly of your life outside of the country, can you call yourself a Zimbabwean girl?
Yes.
How?
Definitely, because what I'm talking about is not just tradition. First of all, I agree with Mukute completely, because how many times have you said a joke in Shona and it just doesn't bite if you try to translate it?
Yeah, but I'm not going to marry you because you're not understanding.
That's not the thing. It's not about that. No. There's a lot.
Come on, man.
First of all, there's a lot of things that she underestimates. Like, I personally think that that's important, because banter is a really important part of my relationship.
If the banter is that good, you can still do it in English.
That's
the first question.
Before we
I feel like the banter that you have to say.
Come
on, man. It's not good enough. It's not good enough.
Like what you say.
Yeah.
75% of my family still lives in the rural areas. My grandmother, the extended family, and whatnot.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend who's closer, right? She has to see my grandmother, and because it's that important. Beyond the whole Kuroran and green, how are they going to communicate?
Right.
Because my
is your grandmother marrying her or you marrying her?
No,
listen. Do you know why I asked that question? I could not give a damn if my wife to be cannot communicate in a Gogo Vango.
That's
bro.
to
be
fair,
are you crazy?
I think he's asking. What bearing are they going to have on our marriage?
Also, how much time?
What bearing?
How much time do you spend with
how much time do you spend with your Gogo compared to how much time you're going to spend with her?
Exactly.
Yeah, but still.
No one is
Say no.
Last year.
You see now.
But
now your wife
last year December. This is March. When was the last time we went to
You're the one that's marrying your wife. Alright,
you're the one that's marrying her.
Guys,
I can't get married to someone who can't swim because we go on a swimming trip once a year.
Here's the thing. We can't do the whole. That's like saying, because at the beginning of that, that's exactly what you're doing. And then what I'm saying is that it's important to me.
Okay.
For my wife to, it's not. It has not bearing for her to be able to communicate with them to what or I just want them to be able to communicate on that superficial level when they ask them, Kuti, how are you? They are able to do the simplest of things. It's as Tomorana bearing a good answer. But if they can't do that, then what are we doing?
There's no way that your Gogo can ask your white wife how are you, and she'll just be standing there. There's no way.
My Gogo cannot speak a drop of English. That's what I'm saying. Good.
But you can translate.
Are you going to be
you can translate.
Which Ramba you got up?
But
what's wrong with translating? What's wrong with that?
Right? Because the guy says something great.
And we need to learn.
We need to learn to be soft, a bit more soft. We need to learn to be a bit more soft when it comes to love. Between you and your partner, that's what matters. You're about to marry someone you're about to marry someone and start your own family with that person. You can't tell me just because that person won't understand Gogovako, Bagataura Tsumo, then it's a whole nother story. It shouldn't matter.
It should, and I agree completely.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm saying. It's not black and white. Kutinine, I will look at it from face value to say, alright, so I really don't care. Kuti, my wife is Setswana, because if I happen to fall in love with a Setswana person, then I fall in love with them and I have to make it work. But what I'm saying is, I'm going to right now. I've never fallen in love. I'm not in love with somebody of a different culture, but I'm going to be aware if I do fall into a situation. No,
but then you know what it is. I feel like there's a lot of things that you're underestimating. There's a lot of things that you get about each other that you don't realize until you have to explain them to someone who just doesn't get it.
Anyway,
like,
I'm trying to find a dish I don't have to pay Lobola for, so
this is why.
Why, girl?
That's the real reason. The truth comes out. You need to unlearn what society mislearned you before.
It's okay.
Let's just keep quiet.